What's up, everyone? It's Adventures in Bitcoin. It's Monday, October 22nd. I thought I'd switch things up with a little video from the IMF, which I think paints a pretty accurate picture of what's going on. If you look in the news and you look at some of the YouTube channels that are out there, there seems to be a lot of doom and gloom. A lot of people think that the economy is going to crash, the US dollar is going to go in the toilet, and we're going to be just like Venezuela. And it got me thinking, like, how does all these things kind of tie into cryptocurrency and Bitcoin? So I'm going to get into that a little bit a little later on. But for right now, I just wanted to bring something to your attention. Make sure you're subscribing, because it looks like YouTube may be unsubscribing people from channels. I'm not the only one that's noticed it. I've talked to some people that I know that have channels, and they're noticing it too. For every like 3 new subscribers I get, I lose like 5. So it's really weird. So make sure you're hitting the buttons, you're liking, subscribing, and sharing, and doing all that stuff. Very much appreciated. All right, so let's kick it off like we normally do. I head over to the Bitcoin chart, kind of look at the price and figure out what might happen, what's happening, and what might happen going. I was saying for a while that if Bitcoin crossed this green line going up, that it would be hopefully a return to higher prices. It looked like that was going to happen, but this spike here was from the USD Tether FUD that came out, and people were selling their Tether for Bitcoin. That spiked the price, and then people got out of Bitcoin. It tanked the price down, but it didn't go down all the way. It actually still stayed outside of this wedge, which is good. A little bit longer term, we can see that I drew this orange line here that shows that the lows are getting higher, which is very positive. The trajectory is pretty flat, but it is, you can tell it's a very clear uptrend, which is very positive. So it could be a long recovery, or we could be flat for a while. But keep in mind, last year Bitcoin took off in November. Will that happen again? Who knows? Hopefully. Actually, not hopefully. I want to see Bitcoin go up steady over time. Actually, right now, the altcoins have been outperforming Bitcoin by a lot. So it's really an altcoin market right now. And that can always turn around. But for right now, the altcoins are doing really good. And what I like to do is go over the coin market cap here, which is pretty much a staple for cryptocurrency enthusiasts. There's other ones, but coin market cap's been around for a while. And what I do is, you can see Bitcoin's up a little bit. Let me refresh this to get, okay, so it's down a little bit, so it's basically flat. Ethereum as well. Ripple also flat. So what I do is, like, I'll come over to view all. Once this is done loading, I go over to market cap, and because we're only really interested in the higher market cap coins, I hit view all, and we're going to do 100 million to 1 billion. Those are the market cap coins we're interested in. Give that a second to sort, and then I'll come all the way here to the right, because now we have 1 hour, 24 hour, and 7-day percentage. So I'm going to hit the 7-day percentage. That'll give us the coins that have been up for at least a week. And you can see Raven coin at the top here, 168. It was actually higher, it's starting to come down. Raven coin, actually, a lot of times you see a random coin that'll just moon for whatever reason, and then it will tank, and that's what they call a pump and dump. But because the 24-hour, it's been up for 7 days, but also the 24-hour is still up, telling me that this is kind of a legit pump. I don't know too much about Raven coin. I'm not suggesting it, but I'm just saying that that's interesting. The BAT token here is another thing, and I'll get into that in a minute. I just wanted to show you all the 7-day percentage. They're all green. So, and some of these are good names, like 0x, Quantum, Komodo. These are coins that have been around a while. Omise Go, Augur, Pundix. So all these guys have been outperforming Bitcoin, at least in the recent time. So what I want to say about the BAT token, basic attention token, and what that token is for. It's going to be used exclusively with the Brave browser. The Brave browser is awesome, guys. If you're a crypto person, you need to be using the Brave browser. Not only is it crypto friendly, but it's also the most secure, the most private browser. It even has Tor built into it, so if you don't even need to connect to a VPN, you can simply just click the Tor feature, and you are now using the Tor network. So you're surfing anonymously. The best part about it, though, is that you can load it up with BAT tokens and use it to tip your favorite content providers, perhaps even yours truly. It also pays you in BAT tokens to view ads, because if you're on any other browsers, you're not being paid to view ads. And a lot of these coins, they all promise different use cases, but when you actually see one that's actually put into use as a utility, it's a really good sign, and that was the cause of this nice little spike in the price. I actually got a couple of BAT tokens for being a publisher, and I think at the time when I got it, it was like $3-4. It's now up to $7, so I'm happy about that. If you watched my video, I think it was the last video I did, I talked about the BAT token, and I was looking at this chart here about how the token was trading in a very tradable channel, and I suggested that you could buy these lows and safely sell these tops. If you did that, you're doing pretty good, because the thing just took off. I'm not sure what this long wick is, but whatever it was, it didn't last very long. There's also some rumors about the BAT token being added to Coinbase, and whenever Coinbase gets a new coin or speculates about getting a new coin, that coin takes off. We saw that happen with 0x. And what's great about 0x is that it went up, but it never dumped. It stayed up. It's actually in a bull flag formation right now. So 0x is also looking really good. I've also been using this Uphold wallet, which is I'm really liking this. Not only is it really pretty, it has a mobile-based version of this wallet that plugs in so you see the same assets that you're holding. So I could look at the same assets I have on my desktop as I have on my phone. And you can it works as an exchange. You can transfer, use these cards here where you can transfer your balances from one to the other to the other. You can go to USD, you can go into euros, you can send it to any cryptocurrency that's available, and they have pretty much all the major ones. But not only that, you can also send it to a temporary MasterCard or Visa that you can use to spend your crypto on websites. And to even add to the benefits, I really like this feature. You can send your crypto to these cards, which represents gold. A lot of people think that this is the Australian currency, but this is gold here. So theoretically, if I transferred Bitcoin or Ripple or BAT over to gold, and crypto crashes tomorrow, it would still hold the value of gold. It has silver card too, that you have to add. You just add it manually. There's also platinum and pretty much every other currency available. So this, you don't own your keys here. With Uphold, you don't hold your keys. This is all stored online, so I wouldn't advise sending a lot of money on here. Plus, I think there's a $500 withdrawal limit, so be aware of that. One other new announcement that they just made like recently, like today I think it was, that they're gonna start offering loans where you can loan your crypto out, or you can borrow against your crypto. So you can earn money by loaning your crypto out or loaning cash out, and you can borrow from this system using your crypto as collateral. Pretty innovative. Okay, so moving on to the geopolitical situation, the economic situation of the world, and what all the talking heads are saying. What I really only care about is the U.S. economy, because I'm based in the U.S. and it's safe to say the U.S. economy drives a lot of the other countries. And whether the U.S. economy is actually doing good right now depends upon who you ask. Some people are all doom and gloom. My YouTube feed seems to be filled a lot of these type of videos Will there be a recession? A recession is coming. The US dollar is going to reset. Then you got people saying that, everything is fine. Market's going to keep going up and don't worry about anything. Now, who do you believe in a situation like this? One thing that I'm keeping in mind is that we have, here in the US, we have midterm elections coming up. There's been a very extreme tug of war for power in this country between the Democrats and the Republicans. And anything you see in the news is obviously political theater. Yesterday, it was a Supreme Court judge who may or may not have sexually harassed a woman when he was 17 years old, 30 years ago. Today, it's a caravan of Honduras and Mexican immigrants wanting to come into the country. It's all theater. So in situations like this, what do we do? Who do we listen to? A lot of this stuff is designed to make you vote a certain way. But a lot of times it's to make you react financially to the information. They want you to panic and move your money from here to there. That's where we need to be careful, not let them manipulate us. So what I like to do is I'd like to take a step back, not listen to so much what everyone's saying, and just look at the facts. So what do we know? We know that, yeah, we are in some serious debt in the United States. We're going to hit 22 trillion. The debt just keeps going up. It's always been going up, no matter who's in office, Democrat, Republican. A lot of the political opponents will want to blame the incumbent president for racking up the debt. But the truth is they all rack up debt. A lot of economists think that it's really not that bad, because if you think about it, governments have many, many, many years to pay off debt. They're not limited by the span of a lifespan like you and I. So they have many lifetimes to pay off their debt. Some experts believe that it's actually a good thing for a government to keep perpetual debt that it's servicing, because it helps stimulate the economy. We also know that the Fed raised interest rates recently, about a quarter of a point. They're going to do another quarter of a point, I think, next month. And then they'll probably raise it some more next month. Fed uses interest rates as a way to control the economy. If it's growing too fast or it's not growing enough, it can use interest rates as a tool to keep things balanced. And it's a balancing act. When we had our economic crisis in 2008, the Fed lowered interest rates all the way down to near zero. This was to stimulate people to go out and borrow and buy and spend, and corporations to grow. When the Fed is comfortable with the economy, that things are kind of getting back to normal, it'll start to raise interest rates again, which is what it's doing now. And it's doing it in a very slowly controlled pace, which tells me that the Fed is very confident in the US economy right now. When interest rates are higher, it's good for the dollar because the dollar is now worth more. If you borrow a dollar, you have to pay a higher interest on that. Therefore, the money is worth more. It's also good for savers because you're saving money, you're earning a higher interest on the money you're saving. But of course, then again, it's bad for borrowers because now you're paying a higher interest rate. So it may keep people from buying that next house or car. A lot of people believe that the Fed kept rates too low for too long. And that's what led to the stock market having such a record bull run. We know that Russia and China have been selling our bonds, which is our debt, the debt of the United States, and have been buying gold like crazy. Other governments have been loading their gold piles. As you may or may not already know, the US dollar used to be on the gold standard back in 1971. Nixon took us off the gold standard so that they can have more flexibility to add more money, because if it's not pinned to anything, they can just print more of it. As you know, that's a bad thing, because the more money that gets put into circulation, the less purchase power that our money has. The stock market has been on this record bull run. It's due for a correction, and it's already starting to show cracks. It's actually overdue for a correction, because you usually see a pretty steep correction about every 10 years. Does that mean it has to crash every time? No, it doesn't. But it is a concern. Real estate is starting to show signs that it's in a bubble. Millennials aren't buying houses. They're seeing these high price tags on these houses, and they're like, why would I spend $400,000 on a house? This is the generation of Airbnbs and Ubers and Lyfts. They're just not buying these high priced items. Like, why would they buy a $40,000 car when you can literally have someone drive you wherever you want at any time you want? That used to be a luxury only available to the rich and famous. So what does all this mean? How does this affect us? How can we use this information to our benefit? And what should we do? I say do nothing. Well, the last thing you want to do is overreact. But as long as you have a well-balanced portfolio that has stocks, bonds, maybe real estate, and some crypto, there's really no need to panic. You're prepared for whatever happens. If tomorrow the stock market crashes, or one particular sector crashes, you're well diversified in the other ones, because stuff's going to go up. It's cyclical. Stuff will go up, stuff will go down, and then vice versa. So how do these things affect crypto? I don't think there's a correlation between stocks and crypto, and a lot of people think that if there's a crash, that money, a crash in the stock market, that money will flow over to crypto. I don't think it works that way. People don't flee from a risky asset to a more risky asset. That doesn't make sense. They're looking for safety. So they'll be looking to go into precious metals, your gold, silver, stuff that's going to be safe, not Bitcoin. But if there's weakness in the US dollar, then I could see crypto going up from that as people flee the US dollar to save their purchasing power and to store that value into crypto. Because think about it. People usually go into stocks because they want the value of the stocks to go up faster than the dollar, right? As if they just kept it in the bank. But if tomorrow the dollar crashes, what are those people going to do? They're going to sell to the dollar, which is a depreciating asset. And if nobody wants the dollar, and that's your only way out of the stock market, you're screwed. What are you going to do? This is where crypto shines. Now, this is a worst case scenario, but this was the kind of the idea that crypto was born out of. It was born out of the 2008 banking crisis, where smart people thought, what if this was worse? So what are some things that are good for crypto? We're seeing that governments are adopting it more and more. Not just crypto as a currency, but blockchain as a way to solve problems. We see governments kind of using it in the way that it was meant to be used. Though I hate to see it being used this way. Iran is using it to get around US sanctions, because they're doing a lot of their purchasing that they're not allowed to be purchasing. They're using Bitcoin to do it. And we're seeing whales move tons of Bitcoin from A to B, and they're doing it without banks, decentralized, from peer to peer, for very, very low fees. Not to mention, we're seeing a lot of the altcoins now. I should say a lot. Some of the altcoins now, the cream of the crop, like BAT and Tron, actually starting to use their tokens or use their coins and their blockchains for real useful applications. So bottom line, don't panic. Don't listen to these talking heads. Keep yourself as diversified and as spread out as possible. Be prepared for any scenario, and you won't have to worry. Keep calm, keep the faith, keep stacking that crypto. Most importantly, stay profitable. See you next time.